It is much likely you wake up and police came at your door for a crime you have never committed. Enter to the Stanford prison experiment. August 14 to August 20, 1971. The Stanford prison experiment was conducted by Philip Zimbardo and his colleagues. Wants to identify what happens when you put good people in an evil place. Does humanity win over evil, or does evil triumph? He published an advertisement in the newspaper for a job of a prisoner and a guard on a pay scale of $15 a day. Yeah, back in 1971, it was a great amount. By now, it looks that you are going to pay a prisoner for being a prisoner and a guard to be a guard. Yeah, it's like a job to be an actor. The people who participated was normal and has no marks on their medical records. After passing psychological test, each person was assigned. You just ask $15 a day? Every one of them is from a middle class background, and after inflation, if you count $15 a day today, it's like $94 or $110 as of now. They were selected on a flip of a coin, whether they are going to be a guard or a prisoner. The basement of Stanford University was converted into a jail. Yeah, because in summers, most of the teachers are on holidays. So that was a thing to remember. Just as every prison, there were rules. The rule number 1, the prisoner must remain silent even after light out. The rule number 2, the prisoner must eat the food on time, mean on time. The rule number 3, no violence at all. There was no window nor any clock. They wanted to make an idea and wanted to pretend a simulation in a way that they want to keep the prisoner away from outside world. The guard were provided with batons and the dresses of guards as a guard looks like, an actor guard. Silvery shiny glasses was given to the guards, so when a prisoner about to see the eyes of the guard, they won't have connection directly with the eyes, so that the sense of humanity will just cut off in between and the guard can put complete power onto them with everything they are going to do. By Palo Alto Police Department, prisoners were arrested randomly. For them, it was a usual day. They have been handcuffed and fingerprinted. Everything was created in a way that it makes them feel real. Yes, a jail that runs by a psychological researcher, not by government. They made into the basement, blindfolded. They were stripped and treated. And one of the most important rules given to the guards that under no circumstances they are allowed to use violence or harm physically. From the day one, every prisoner was named by their numbers, not by their names. So identification was just by their random numbers. According to the scientist Philip Zimbardo, it was a boring experiment on the day first, but because nothing actually happened on the day one. Because no one, nor from the guards, nor from the prisoners, was taking the experiment that seriously. There was like, guards was like taking their dialogues as a thing of comedy. So the beginning day was like everything was boring. But on the day 2, everything becomes so serious. Just from the beginning of day 2. The prisoners started to rebel. At this point, the guard had to do something. The guards found it as a violation of their authority. Guards started to fight back. In return, the prisoner tore off their prisoner's number off their dresses and locked the cell door by putting heavy objects. The guards started to take actions on the other participants as an actual dangerous prisoners, and that needed to be controlled. The guards used fire extinguishers to control over the situation and forcefully stripped everyone down. The situation is getting out of control now. The guards did regain control and kept the prisoners into solitary confinement, a very small place, which was big enough for a prisoner to stand, but not that big for a prisoner to sit or lay down. Just after 36 hours, the situation went so bad that the prisoners started to break down. One prisoner, 8162, started to show the sign of uncontrollable depression and started to cry. He screamed and cried. Professor Zimbardo himself interrogated him. What shocked everyone, that he demanded a lawyer. Eventually he had to be removed from the experiment. He wasn't alone for showing such signs of mental breakdown. But on the day 3, the situation went further away. A lot of prisoners started to go on hunger strike. In response to these prisoners, the guards forced the prisoners to repeat the numbers of their dresses over and over again. Then they were ordered to do push-ups and exercise until they extinguished.
On the count. Down. Up. Down. Up.
And then the things were getting cruel. The guards started to hold bathroom privileges. They have been given buckets to do toilet in them and not allowing them to empty those buckets. And then the guards want every prisoner to hate each other. They tried to make everyone scream on each other and start yelling. In a nutshell, they wanted everyone or every prisoner to break down. It continued till the day 4. They have been stripped naked, locked into solitary confinement in a closet. One of the most soul-shivering things for the prisoners, Zimbardo came up with the church father. The father asked the prisoners what step they are taking to get out of the prison. Immediately, a brick hit to the heart of the prisoners. The prisoner couldn't realize that aren't they part of the experiment or not. The father told, I don't know about it, but have you hired a lawyer or not? The prisoner screamed and started yelling. Then finally, the prisoner who was interrogated by the father have to be removed. And where was Philip Zimbardo? He was there. He was not hiding. In fact, he had involved himself by being a warden, reminding the guards about their authorities and their rights so that they can have power over the prisoners. Forgetting the situation is no longer in his hand. The things went further wrong. He continued doing experiment even though he understood what the conclusion he was looking for is out now. His colleagues don't want to be the part of the experiment now. But Zimbardo still wanted to continue running the experiment. But on the day 6, his girlfriend Christina Maslach came into the psychological department of Stanford into the basement, and she was so upset. She was so upset about what she saw. She threatened Philip Zimbardo to break up if he didn't stop the experiment. Zimbardo prison experiment was terminated finally. The Stanford prison experiment was terminated on 20 August 1971, only after 6 days. While the Stanford prison experiment was originally made to last 14 days, it had to be stopped after just 6 days due to what was happening to the student participants. The guards became so abusive and the prisoners began to show the sign of extreme stress and anxiety. If the environment creates people, much likely the color on the wall changes how you think. Do you become the person of the dress you wear? Surely these are the topics for a different video. The Zimbardo prison experiment is not only a classical study that has been recently scrutinized or re-evaluated or outright exposed. There are many of them. Because you see on the television isn't real, not because you see something edited or not, but the camera itself captures the flip side. But one thing to say, even the dark night will end and the sun will rise. It is pointless to teach someone by killing them. And as always, thanks for watching. There are many researches that shows that Zimbardo prison experiment or Stanford prison experiment was a real presentation of a poor conduct. Though the idea of Zimbardo prison experiment was amazing, but the conduct was poor. We are not putting any of our thoughts in this video. All the links and resources have been provided underneath the description.